So now that we have talked about all the questions that I typically get about mingling and networking, all the misnomers that I've noticed, all the miscommunication, all of the things that are just really being messed up in networking, what I really want to talk about in this section is if you knew what I know, having been to thousands of events, gathering tens of thousands of business cards, and just being in 15 years of networking, if you knew what I know, here are some of the things that you would ask. Or should I say, here are a few of the things that I would love to share with you, because all of the questions that we talked about in the last section, how do I start great conversations, making good first impressions, all of those simple topics, that's one thing. But let's now get into what would we really, really want to do to really up our game as a Mingle to Millions maverick, as someone who really wants to make an impact in the world, someone who wants to feel comfortable when they're going to networking events and have business come to you. I can tell you, I've been the shark, dun 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 dun. I've been the prey, oh no, running from someone who is just aggressively chasing me. And the beautiful place to be is I now have the blessing and the honor of being someone that just being has folks want to come to me and do business. And so that's what I like to share with my tribe, is how to attract people. Let's stop repulsing them. Let's stop sharking and chasing them. Let's start coming from a place that people just want to do business with us, that we are attracting the resources, the relationships, the revenue that rock. So this first tip, or shall I say, first step towards really becoming a powerful, professional, productive, profitable networker or net player. Let's start playing. Let's take the work out of networking. The first thing is mindset versus skill set. When I first started networking, I just flat out didn't know what to do. I was going to the wrong events, or if I went to events, I was the card collector and I didn't think I'd done a good job unless I had a big stack of cards. But then I wouldn't follow up, or if I did follow up, I didn't know what to say. I was chasing people. They were running from me and avoiding me. Now, fortunately, I was aggressive enough that I did so much of that I still did a lot of business, but there was a lot of business that I left on the table. There were a lot of relationships that I could have had that I chased away. And over all of that time, what I learned was that a lot of the skill set that was required to actually build really solid business relationships and master referrals, actually all that skill set starts right here. It starts with building our mindset. And so when I first started networking, I did at least have the foresight to start reading books. I had a mentor. As a matter of fact, my mentor in real estate gave me the first book that I started reading. It was actually just a little tiny pamphlet. It was called U Squared. U Squared. It was by a guy named Price Pritchett. And it was only maybe 30 or 40 pages long. And I remember when I was given this book, I actually read it on an airplane. I was going to a convention. And during that 2 or 3 or 4 hour flight, I was actually able to read that book. And it totally helped me to change my mindset about what I was doing. It talked about U Squared. It said, people talk about taking tiny little steps and incremental changes. And this said, leap. Make the leap, and when you make the leap, you will find your wings on the way down. It just really helped me to just in that couple of hours think, wow, I don't have to make tiny, teeny little baby steps. I can just jump into the next way of being. So that one little booklet really helped to launch me into personal development and growth, spiritually, business-wise, personally, emotionally, physically. So I would certainly encourage you to start reading. If you're not reading now, start reading. And I've actually got a whole list. As a matter of fact, it's in the back of the book. Cammie's recommendations of books and seminars and audios and things. So that's the first way that I started with my mindset, was by reading that book. Second thing was, I actually had to, I don't know if you remember, cassettes. I actually had a cassette player in my car, and I had a cassette called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And I listened to that cassette over and over and over. I believe it was Susan Jeffries that did that cassette. She helped me a lot too, to feel the fear and do it anyway. And over time I was going through all these different self-development. I did landmark education. I did Tony Robbins' Walking on Fire. I went to Zig Ziglar conferences. I went to real estate conferences. I learned about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I studied the personalities, the 4 different distinct personalities. I learned about mirroring and matching and body language and all these things. I highly encourage you to work on your mindset even before we start worrying about the skill set, because what we say when we go to these events or where we go and all those things are really important. But you can have the best script in the world, but if how you're saying it and who you're being isn't coming through the way that you're wanting to be perceived, then it doesn't matter what scripts you have or the skills that you have, because they're not going to be received exactly the way that you want. I want to give you a story about how mindset really changes everything. So I'm a real estate agent many years ago. I guess at this point of this recording and this book was about 16 years ago. And when I became a real estate agent, I had just gotten through the addictions that I've already talked about in the book. My daughter was less than a year or 2 old at the time, and my mind wasn't as clear as it is today, I can tell you that. I was really in a place of just starting to dig myself out of that hole, out of that proverbial pit that we get into. I had at least stopped digging, and I was just starting to climb out of that hole. And so when I started working at that real estate office, thank God for the mentors that I had there. And there was one woman who I look back on it and I think about what an angel she is, what an angel and a blessing she was. She was sent to really help me with this part of what I'm going to share with you today. Now, her name is Joan. And Joan had been in real estate for many years, I think probably about 30 years, very seasoned veteran. And here I was, early 30s, daughter was a year 2 old. I was just clearing my mind of all the addictions, the alcoholism, the low self-esteem, all of that. And I got my license, and I was starting to go out and meet people and do the networking. And Joan was watching me. She could tell that I was hungry, I was tenacious, I was, dare I say, desperate. I was in survival mode, I was in shark mode, and I was out hunting. And at the same time, I wasn't presenting myself very favorably. And so she came to me and she said, "Cammie, I have a suit. I have a suit that I've outgrown, and I would love to give it to you. Would you like this suit that I've outgrown?" And of course, not only did I need a suit, but this was Joan's suit. And she was someone that I highly respected, had a very nice way of being. She was very demure, but yet very powerful as a business person and as a center of influence and a power of example for me. So when she offered this suit, I graciously said, yes, I'd love to try it on. So she brought it from her car. And it wasn't just the suit, it was the shoes too. And as a matter of fact, there's a picture of me in this suit in the book because I wore that suit for many years. And here's the thing, the suit was a red blazer and a red skirt, and I had the red shoes, power colors, and it fit me to a T. It was the perfect size, and all I had to do was get a blouse to go underneath it. And Joan said, "You look like $1,000,000, have at it, kid." So I start going out on appointments, and every appointment I went on, I wore that suit. Not only was it the only suit that I had, but fortunately I was taught, don't worry about changing your suit, change your audience. Change your audience, meaning make sure that you're out talking to somebody new every day. So as I'm wearing this suit, almost on a daily basis, going on 1 or 2 or maybe 3 appointments a day, this suit made me feel powerful. I held my shoulders back a little bit further, my head a little bit higher, and I felt really powerful and good in that suit. So I wore the suit a lot, and I would tell my clients, now that you've met me in the suit and now that we like each other, I just want you to know I'm in jeans from now on. And they always laugh, but I was in that suit every day. So about 6 months after this instigation, when she gave me the suit, I had taken lots of listings. I was doing a lot of networking and wearing that suit to just the right places, and had a lot of business going. And for a single mom with just enough college to pretend that I went, for someone who was hungry and needed it to work, just needed it to, I was bringing in a lot of business for a brand new agent. It was in the top 5% the first year that I started to go out and aggressively hunt for business. And so about 6 months into it, Joan had noticed I'd been wearing that suit a lot. I was walking a little bit differently. I was with a little pep in my step. I was making money. And for somebody who was used to making $500 a week as an employee, now I was making $4,000 or $5,000 per commission check, a couple of them a month. It was getting pretty nice. So Joan takes me to the side one day with a grin on her face, and she says, "Cammie, you know that suit that I gave you a few months ago?" And I said, "Yes, Joan, I absolutely do. I love that suit. I wear it all the time. You know it. I know it. I wear it all the time. Thank you so much." She says, "Well, I have a little confession to make." "Okay, what is it?" She says, "I didn't outgrow that suit." She said, "I could see that you needed one, so I bought it for you." And I said, "Oh, Joan, that's so nice of you. That was so gracious of you to do that." And she said, "Well, not only did I buy it for you, but I bought it from the Salvation Army." And we giggled and laughed about it, and we hugged, and I said, "You know what? I'm so glad that you did. It's made all the difference in the world." And then she says, "Not only did I buy it for you from the Salvation Army, but it was on sale on the $3 rack." So Joan was brilliant enough not only to see that I needed a boost in my appearance, she was brilliant enough to tell me just enough of a little white lie that I wasn't embarrassed or humiliated or rejected her offer. And she was also just brilliant with timing and coming to me a few months later because she wanted to be honest. She wanted to get it off her chest. And I think she knew that I could see the lesson in this. That it wasn't just what you wear, it's how you wear it. It isn't just having, see, I would not have acquired all those skills as an agent. I wouldn't have acquired all of the beginning skills as a networker if I hadn't put that suit on and felt really powerful. See, I shared this story about 3 years into being an agent. I got my own assistant, and her name was Monique. And I shared this story with Monique at a time in her life when I knew that mindset is what she needed. Now, Monique was the kind of person who was good at her job, but had her days of coming in with the woe is me's. I don't have enough money. My kids don't have what they need for Christmas. Now, mind you, she's smoking cigarettes the whole time, which are $5, $10 a pack, and stopping to get the big gulp every day. But she was always talking about how she didn't have enough money. And then I said, "You know what? I'm going to get you licensed as an agent, and as I have buyers come into the table for my listings, I'm going to give you all those buyers." I wanted to help her out. I wanted to give her the leg up that someone else had given to me. So once she got her license, the excuses continued. "Well, Cammie, I don't have a nice enough car to drive people in. I don't have gas money to put in the car to take people on appointments. I don't have I don't have the right clothes to wear." See, she was in this mindset of have, do, be. Have, do, be. See, most people get stuck in, I gotta have the right clothes before I can go to the right networking event. I gotta have the right amount of money in my pocket before I can pay to go to a $20 event. I gotta have enough time before I can go work out so that I can be healthy. I gotta have, do you know who I'm talking about? I don't know if it's you or if it's somebody that you know, but we all know people like that are always talking about what they gotta have before they can do something so that they will be healthy, so that they will be in the right relationship, so that they will be financially secure, etc., right? And this was the mindset that Monique was in, the have, do, be, which unfortunately I seem to find 95% of people are in. So I was sharing this story with Monique. I sat her down one day and I said, let me tell you the story of Red, which is my affectionate name for the story, because the suit was red, and I talk about the suit being red. So I shared the story with Monique, and at the end of the story, when I told her that that suit was a and she knew the suit. She worked with me. I was still wearing the suit at the time. I wish I still had it, because I'd wear it on stage now just to show everybody how powerful I would feel in that $3 suit. So she knew the suit. So when I shared this story with her, the moral of the story for me with her was, Monique, that suit cost Joan $3. It could have cost me $3, or investment. It's an investment, right? I said, are you telling me that you can't splurge and spend $10, maybe a whopping $20, at the Salvation Army and get a suit or a set of clothes that make you feel powerful? Because what happened for me was, when I wore that $3 suit, I was being the agent that I wanted to be. I was being it. I was embodying it. My mindset was, I'm powerful. I look the part. I am being the part. And that way, when people say, Kimmy, can you do this? Do you do that? Whatever those questions were, yes ma'am, yes I can. And I had to live into that. So I would be the powerful agent, so that I would do what that powerful agent would do, even if it meant going back to the office and just asking everybody else how it worked, so that I would have what that powerful agent would have. See, I switched it from have, do, be, to be, do, have. Shared that story with Monique, thinking, hey, listen, this is a powerful story. Instead of stopping for a pack of smokes and a big gulp tomorrow, maybe she'll go get a suit and step into being a professional woman, so that she would do what that person would do and have what they would have. Now, unfortunately for Monique, that didn't happen. However, the blessing of Joan stepping in and being that mentor that I needed when I didn't even know what a mentor was, and the blessing of Monique not stepping in to using this powerful new way of being, between the two of them, I've been able to put together this story that is so true. It is so authentic, and it makes such a wonderful example of fixing our mindset before our skill set. When I put that suit on, in my mind, I was powerful. And that's why I did the things that I did and was able to have the things that I had. So I highly recommend, if you are wanting, and of course you are, that's why you're watching this, you're listening to it, or you're reading it, because you are wanting